Digital displays are becoming more frequently seen in, commercial environments, displays of technical things or just advertisements. So I thought it'd be good to learn how to do that. So we're going to add some wall monitors to our wall surfaces. So let's go ahead and jump into Revit and start that. So we're going to open up a file, a new family element, new family, and this time it's going to be a generic model, wall-based. As I'm looking down here to find it, and I clicked off to the wrong screen. I'll go ahead and open that. I'll go ahead and save that right away. And I've already practiced a little bit, so I'm going to save it as a wall monitor. So we're going to go ahead and replace that. And now I had a little problem when I had to practice with this, is getting the wall, because we have different wall thicknesses, sometimes the monitor would actually be buried in the wall. So I want to make sure we set this up in a way that we get a, an effective placement of it. So I'm going to take this, this kind of reference line, and I'm going to move it over until, oops, it's a pinned element, so I have to unpin it. So let me go ahead and unpin it. And I'm going to move it over now, kind of as a reference to how far off the surface of the wall the monitor should sit. So I'll grab the move tool and I'll pull this over, and I'm going to add a dimension to it. And I need to tab in order to create the face side of that. And it says 2 inches, which is fine. So I'm just going to lock that reference plane off. And now we're going to go ahead and develop our monitor. So I'll go to the placement side again, and we're going to make an extrusion, which will be the monitor itself. We're going to do that 16:9 aspect ratio, and I'll just type in the numbers here. We don't really care how big it is on the first draft of this because, whoops, we're going to scale it. So once we have that sized, I'm going to grab it all and use our scale tool, and we'll bring it down until it's about 5 feet wide. And then I guess we can go ahead and complete this out, because we'll resize it again in a second here. And then I'm just going to move it into a position, kind of like so it's on our point placement line. And let's make it 60 inches above the floor, so it'll work in most of our locations. And while we're here and remembering it, let's go ahead and give it the material black. And because we've already imported a black, it'll assume inside of Revit whatever the first black is we established. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this. So it really doesn't matter what color it is here other than the visuals within here, within the family element. And I will go to the left side. And what I want to do is I'm going to peel this out until I can make contact with that surface. I'm going to lock it to it. And I'll just pull this back until we get, let's say we want that monitor to be 2 inches thick. So I'll just make this 4 inches. Oops. Okay, so I think that pretty well covers making the monitor. So let's go ahead and load that into the project. I've already put it in here once, so I'm overwriting it. And now we'll go ahead to the component, place the component, and I'll come here and place it. And I'll just place it one time because we want to add a decal to this. So I'm going to go to the section view that I created for this. Let's see if it's, oops, not that one. Section 1, I believe it is. So we can zoom in here to see where the monitor is. And we're going to add a decal to this surface. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to look for, I'm going to create a decal. So I'll go to Decal, Decal Types. We need a new one. But before we do that, actually, I'll go ahead and do that. New decal, call it Graphic. Click OK. And I'll click OK for now because we don't have an image added to it. Let's go out and grab an image. So I'm going to go out to Chrome, my browser. I've already got a tab. I went ahead and searched 16:9 business dashboard. A dashboard is just a graphic that shows you maybe like how many sales are happening or what kind of activity is going on. And I thought this one looked pretty good here. I would like you to pick a different one so they don't all, look the same. I asked to open that image by right-clicking on it on another screen. It's really quite small, so that's fine though. It's only 300 pixels wide, so that's fine. I'm going to do a save as. I'm going to save this image as, and I'm going to save it to the, well, actually I have to navigate in, so give me just a second here. I have to get into our the right folder, and we're doing, I believe this is CV7, and so I'm going to save this as a JPEG, and I want to call it the graphic. And now we have a graphic to work with. What I can do is go back into Revit now and go back to that decal, which is under the insert. Decal type. We've already created one, so now we just have to add an image to it. So I'm going to now why won't that let me edit it? Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. That's what's going on. Sorry. And there's our graphic. Go ahead and open that. Click OK. Then we'll go ahead and go to Insert, Decal, place a decal. And I'm going to place it on this. And maybe we should set this to render so we'll see if it looks realistic. And there's our decal, so let's go ahead and move it. I think I have to select it again. And we could probably just resize it a little bit. So I'm going to try to stretch it out here a little bit. Actually, it won't allow me to resize it that way. So what I'll do is, we know that thing is about 5 feet, or what did we make it, a 5-foot monitor? So let's make this, let's say 54 inches. And that'll make it pretty close to being I'm going to zoom in here and see if I can get a little more precise about my placement. Give it a little nudge. Actually, I'll make that just a little bit larger. Let's see if we go to maybe 8. And I'm being fussy about this because we're going to make duplicates of it. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to grab the Control key and try and select the monitor. So we have both of those together. And I'm going to look to group those. And it's not allowing me to group these right now. Let me figure out why that is. That worked and that worked. And I can't group it. All right, so let me try to troubleshoot that. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong graphic, the scaling one. I want the grouping one over here. So I'm going to go ahead and group this. And we really don't care what we call it. Click OK. And let's work at the mezzanine view of this. So let me go ahead and open up the mezzanine. And we'll just copy this over. And then I'll just actually paste another one. Component. Actually, it won't let me paste it as a component because it's a group. So I'm going to just copy this over again. It's constrained to the wall. Let me just undo that a minute and hit unconstrained when we do copy. There we go. Oh, let's see what's saying here. Last member of the group instance was excluded or deleted. So I'm not sure why it's not allowing me to paste that. Hold on just a second. So I tried it again and it works. So let's go through the drill. Grab the monitor, copy command, make sure it's unconstrained, pick a point, come on over here and touch that wall surface, and we'll do the same thing over here. Touch the wall surface. And now let's look at that from a 3D view. And there we have our monitors set in place. Like I said, I hope you use a different graphics than I use, so it'll look a little different. Your display will look a little different than mine. All right, so there we have the placement of our monitors. So next we'll look at creating a little office kind of meeting area over here.